Hello and welcome to Attachment Maps. My name is Carl and I've been learning about attachment theory since 2018. Today I'm doing a deep dive about Thais Gibson, and some of what I'm going to tell you may surprise you. Thais Gibson is a Canadian self-proclaimed attachment style expert. Her videos are well known on YouTube among laypeople who are trying to work on themselves and their relationships through an attachment theory framework. As of today, Thais and her school have 463 subscribers on YouTube, 552 followers on Instagram, 156,000 followers on Facebook, 20,000 on TikTok. She also has a podcast, and she's been interviewed by people like Mel Robbins. I think I found out about Thais Gibson a couple of years into my journey learning about attachment theory. And based on what I knew then, I found her knowledge to be spot on. Even as recently as a couple of years ago, if I needed a YouTube video explaining something about attachment, I may have referred someone to a Thais Gibson video. She seems kind and sincere, isn't judgmental about certain attachment styles, and seems genuine about helping people become secure. In the last couple of years, though, my understanding of attachment theory has developed. And more recently, I stumbled onto some posts about Thais Gibson and the Personal Development School that concerned me. So I looked deeper, and I feel like it's important to share what I've learned here. I'm going to address three areas of concern, starting with the most serious. Number one, her credentials. I'm going to spend a lot of time on this. Number two, her business practices and theoretical foundations. And number three, her associations and background, who influenced her and who is interviewing her. The biggest and most concerning thing for me is Thais Gibson's credentials. I believe that she is and has been trying to create a public image that is, to some degree, a facade. Thais Gibson is not a licensed therapist. Does that surprise you? I mean, there's more, and I'll get to those, but that was the big one for me. I was shocked when I heard that. So, when it comes to Thais Gibson's credentials, let's take a look at what Thais has said about herself and what others are saying about her. And then we'll take a closer look at those claims. While Thais has never claimed to be a licensed therapist, I believe it has been strongly implied. Thais very often mentions her degrees and her training in therapeutic modalities, along with her relatively new PhD. We'll talk about those in a minute. And for those who don't know, you have to have at least a master's degree to become a licensed therapist. Using archive.org, I went back to April of 2019 on the Personal Development School website, and on the About page, it reads, Thais Gibson, founder of the Personal Development School of Toronto, is a mental health professional with a Bachelor of Science in Psychology and a Master of Arts in Transpersonal Psychology. She is certified in CBT, NLP, hypnosis, life coaching, the overview method for trauma, and more. After running a practice with a massive overflow of clients, the idea for a school came when she was trying to figure out how to accommodate greater numbers of people more effectively. After 2020, it looks like she stopped claiming to be a mental health professional and instead referred to herself as a personal development expert. If you go back even farther, Theis's previous business was a company called Transformation and Life Mastery, where Thais taught in-person courses in Toronto. On the Facebook page, Thais claims that her program was designed to clear trauma. In her videos, she has claimed to have a private practice and clients. Thais has appeared on podcasts that focus on the topic of running a private practice. And this YouTuber who made a review video for the Personal Development School thought Thais was a therapist.
And Thais Gibson, I believe she's a therapist. She used to be FA, being fearful, avoidant, and is now a secure person.
And this PhD and author who wrote an article about Thais Gibson thought she was too. Perhaps the most telling thing here is that Thais has never, to my knowledge, denied being a licensed therapist. So why would she leave the door open for people's reasonable assumptions? And just to make sure she was not a licensed therapist, I actually looked her up on both the Ontario and Quebec licensing websites. and neither of them showed any records for anyone named Tice. I even emailed the College of Registered Psychotherapists of Ontario, and they got back to me quite quickly with this professional reply: "We do not have any registrants with the name Thais Gibson." Now that we've established that Thais Gibson is not a licensed therapist, let's do a review of her education. Thais Gibson's LinkedIn seems to offer us the most comprehensive list of her degrees and training. Let's take a look at that and see what we can find. Okay, so when we're looking at Thais Gibson's education, the first thing we see is Kennesaw State University. Looks like she got a bachelor's in psychology with a minor in sociology. This checks out. There's a picture of Thais on the school website. So this seems perfectly legit. Next thing we see is right after college, she gets a life coach certification. So you can tell that Thais is really passionate about helping people and becoming a life coach. And here's a quick look at the website for Fowler International Center of Life Coaching, which has since changed its name. The next entry is Florida Atlantic University. Now, she may have been there for 2, maybe 3 years. It's hard to say. But there's no evidence that she ever graduated from this program. So it's a little bit strange that she put this on her LinkedIn. She doesn't have a degree in cognitive psychology. It's not really clear what she was doing there, how many classes she took. I mean, for all we know, she could have taken 3 classes or 4 classes, stretched over 2 or 3 years, maybe just hung out in Florida, maybe had a boyfriend down there. I mean, who knows? It's a bit strange that this is even on there because there's no evidence that she ever got a degree there. She claims to have a master's in transpersonal psychology, but this university doesn't offer one, and Thais refuses to disclose where her degree was from. So that's confusing. Interestingly enough, I also found this Facebook post where Thais refers to her degree not as a psych degree, but as a metaphysics degree. And for those wondering what transpersonal psychology is, here is the Wikipedia. Transpersonal psychology, or spiritual psychology, is an area of psychology that seeks to integrate the spiritual and transcendent human experiences within the framework of modern psychology. Evolving from the humanistic psychology movement, transpersonal psychology emerged in the late 60s, integrating spirituality and consciousness studies into psychological theory as a response to perceived limitations of mainstream psychological approaches. The empirical validity and recognition of transpersonal psychology remains contentious in modern psychology. Early critics, such as Ernest Hilgard, have viewed it as a fringe movement that attracted extreme followers of humanistic psychology, while scholars such as Eugene Taylor have acknowledged the field's interdisciplinary approach, at the same time noting its epistemological and practical challenges. The field's connections to psychedelic substances, religious ideas, and the New Age movement have also further fueled controversy. Next on her credentials is the Hypnosis Motivation Institute. And she looks like she was there for maybe a few months, maybe a couple years. And she was studying the foundations in hypnosis. Now, if we take a look at this school, if you look at the Hypnosis Motivation Institute's materials, you can see that they also offer things like NLP and Reiki. Some of these things are considered pseudoscience. Next is the overview method for trauma. And I actually couldn't find a lot of information on this. The closest thing I could find was the overview method. And it sounds like it's something that comes from Dr. Nima Rahmani and his online courses. Suffice it to say that Dr. Rahmani is a chiropractor turned edutainer. Edutainer? I don't even know how you say that. He's not a psychologist, so it's kind of weird that he has a course on trauma. So next is the PESI Institute, PESI. Now, this is a website full of courses that therapists can use to earn continuing education credits. Tice claims that she took courses over the span of about 5 years. And to give you an idea, if you had $2,000 in about a month's time, you could probably get all 13 modality courses that Tice got. I mean, that's at least my impression of the site. The courses aren't horribly expensive and they don't take a very long time to take. Okay, now let's talk about her doctorate degree. Tice Gibson promotes her PhD on her website and other profiles. When you look closer, though, it turns out the PhD is not in psychology, but in pastoral counseling and comes from an institution, the University of Metaphysical Sciences, that is not accredited, at least not by the expected organizations. Why? Because it's technically a religious school. On Reddit, a user says, she has a PhD from the University of Metaphysical Sciences, which isn't a regionally or nationally accredited university. There is no set curriculum involved in getting this degree. You simply have to write a 40-page dissertation. She's out to make money on people who don't do their research. The university's website doesn't seem to dispute this. As it says, doctoral degrees are based on your own personal research and work, which is presented in your doctoral dissertation. It also seems to say that a PhD can be earned in 2 months. And get this, a master's degree in only 4 months. Now, despite the fact that Tice doesn't have a PhD in psychology, that doesn't stop Brian Keene from calling her a psychologist on 2 of his podcasts, episode 489 and 568. So we've talked about Tice's questionable credentials. I want to wrap up this part of the video from this quote from Dr. Gabrielle Lyon. Dr. Lyon is not a psychologist either, but she is a doctor of osteopathic medicine and a health and wellness influencer. This is what she has to say about Tice. Who is Dr. Tice Gibson? Tice Gibson, counselor and co-founder of the Personal Development School, is the leading expert in attachment theory, and her cutting-edge research is extending the frontier of psychology with her modern integrated attachment theory. It was widely accepted that your attachment style was set for life, but Tice's research shows that you actually can change your attachment style, improving your romantic relationships, close family connections, and friendships. Tice is a powerhouse, recently appearing on the Mel Robbins podcast, has over 230,000 subscribers on YouTube, more than 60,000 followers on Instagram, was a keynote speaker for Google's International Women's Day, and the Personal Development School has over 30,000 members in 115 countries.